competition. We'll start from East Bladen High School under the leadership of Health Occupations teacher Brandy Wilkins. Health Career Display Event, first place, the team of Lily Wynn and Willow Edge. In Human Growth and Development Event, third place, Tyler Ezel. Tyler here. In the HOSA Bowl, fifth place team of Dawson Jessup, Kiara Correa, and Lauren Yancassi. And from West Bladen High School, under the leadership of Health Occupations teacher Mary Tyler, medical math event, top 10 finish, Brianna Nance. Sports medicine event, top 10 finish, Hannah Mal. Human growth and development, top 10 finish, Jenna Floyd. Nursing assistant event, second place, Amber Long. Prepared speaking event, third place, Sophia Singletary. If the parents are here, please stand and be recognized. And let's again give congratulations to the students, their families, and their schools. The parents are here.
You're not going to tell me either, were you? All right, if I can get everybody maybe to squeeze in just a little bit. I want to make sure I get everybody in the picture. Okay, that's perfect. All right, I'll take 3, so keep smiling, being handsome and beautiful, and one more. Thank you.
Now for short story competition. The Bladen County Public Library System kicked off the short story writing competition this year to all students in grades 1st through 12th. Students were to write a children's story appropriate for grades kindergarten to 5th grade. 7 Bladen County students took home prizes in this year's competition. Tonight we are recognizing 2 of those students. In the 1st to 3rd grade division, Taylor Willis from Bladen Lakes Primary School won 2nd place with her short story titled Growing Gardens of Love. Great job. And in the 7th to 9th grade division, Hannah Wheelers from Clarkton School discovered 2nd place with her short story titled The Tiny Ballerina. The parents here, please stand and be recognized, and let's again give congratulations to these students, their families, and the schools.
All right, so I'll take 3. Keep smiling, being beautiful and beautiful. Wait, beautiful one more time. And handsome, Mr. Roger. Wait, hang on. Thank you.
Now with the North Carolina State Fair design winners. Each year the North Carolina State Fair opens competitions to various design and agricultural events for students in public schools, showcasing the talents and skills of students across the state. 2 students from Bladen County Schools placed in the individual student division. Taylor Wheelis, a student from Bladen Lakes Primary, placed. So Taylor, she placed in 9 out of 10 divisions at the North Carolina State Fair Design Ages 9 and Under competition. You want to get that in. First place in Handicrafts and Hollies. Holiday decorations. First place in Handicrafts and Hobbies painting on China original artwork. 2nd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies holiday occasion greeting cards. 2nd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies wreaths. 2nd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies eggshell hole. 3rd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies nature. 3rd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies decorative creation. 3rd place in Handicrafts and Hobbies jewelry, mixed media, and 5th place in Handicrafts and Hobby decorative painting, original artwork. Great job. Great job.
Okay, the other one's we get 2 more. And 1 more. Okay.
We'd also like to recognize Jacob Barber, who is not here tonight. He was a student from East Bladen High School who participated in the arts photography competition, and Jacob won first place in the individual student competition. I want to say congratulations to you. And the FFA competition winners. The FFA chapter of East Bladen High School recently participated in the regional livestock judging competitions. Working under the leadership of FFA chapter sponsor and ag teacher Earl Miller, students gained valuable career development skills and experience in FFA competitions. The purpose of the livestock judging is to provide a competitive event for agricultural education students, emphasizing skills in livestock evaluation, selection, and management as taught through the agricultural education curriculum. The objectives of this event include understanding and interpreting performance data based on individual industry standards, selecting and marketing livestock that will provide increased economic returns, communicating industry terminology effectively, and identification of criteria used in grading livestock. So Olivia Barnes, an FFA student at East Bladen, won second place in the competition. This qualifies Olivia to compete in the state competition events. Olivia, great job. And Olivia's parents are here. Please stand and be recognized along with any schools there.
Okay, so we'll take 3, and we'll take 2, and 1 more. Perfect, thank
you. Now for the FBLA competition winners. The West Bladen FBLA chapter recently competed in the Southeast Regional Competitive Events held at Fayetteville Technical Community College. Under the leadership of FBLA chapter sponsor and CTE teacher Camilla Ellis, several students received top awards in the event. We'd like to recognize the following students. First place in Business Procedures event, Mahogany Rozier. Second place in Introduction to Parliamentary Procedure, Amy Reeves. And third place in Introduction to Parliamentary Procedure, Brandon Walden. Brandon, okay. So again, let's say congratulations to these students with their families here. Please stand and be recognized.
Okay, keep smiling. Let's get 1, get 1 more, and 1 more. Hang on. Thank you.
Now for the Microsoft Office certified students. 17 students at West Bladen High School have recently received their Microsoft Office certification. In order to obtain their certification, the students take a proctored and timed performance-based exam to demonstrate their skills. Bladen County Schools has partnered with Microsoft Incorporated to create a Microsoft IT Academy at West Bladen, and the certifications are awarded through Certiport. Certiport is the world leader in performance-based certification exams, and these students have set themselves apart through their hard work and effort in the Microsoft IT Academy. The certification is part of the Bladen County School System's career and technical education program and has been established to enhance the opportunities for Bladen County students and will make them more marketable as they prepare to enter college and ultimately the workforce. So the students are instructed by the CTE teacher, Ms. Camilla Ellis. And we'd like to say congratulations to the following students who received their Microsoft Office certification. Abdel Papin is not, okay. Bethany Strickland. Cheyenne Lewis. Christopher Bailey. Connor Daly Grissom. Deanne Isabel Ramos George. Arnett, Jenna McCray Dove, Keance Morrissey, Kawasira Chapman, Lakevia Haskins. Megan Brady. Megan Baxley. Morgan Elise Schumacher. Rebecca Bowman. Shelby Storms, and Winter Graham. So let's say congratulations to these students and their families. If you were here, you stand and be recognized. And Ms. Ellis, could you come out and be recognized with your students?
Mr. Rozier, can I get you to stand on this side? There we go. All right. Perfect. Thank you. I'll take 3 and 2 and 1 more. Perfect. Thank you.
Now for our monthly student attendance balance. In the elementary school division, with an average student attendance during the month of December at 95.01%, Booker T. Washington Primary, under the leadership of Ms. Elizabeth Brown, is the recipient for January.
All right, keep looking this way, smiling and being handsome and beautiful. And 1 more. Wait, we can get 1 more.
In the middle school division, with an average student attendance during the month of December at 98.10%, East Arcadia School, under the leadership of Ms. Demetrius Johnson-Jones, is the recipient for January. It is worthy to note that this is the highest percentage of monthly student attendance obtained by any school in the county during the year.
All right, to keep that big smile going, let me get 3, and let me get 1 more. Hang on. And 1 more. Thank you.
They love me, that's why they come to school.
And in the high school division, with an average student attendance during the month of December at 94.09%, West Bladen High School, under the leadership of Mrs. Peggy Hester, is the recipient for January.
Here we go. We'll do 3 and 2 and 1 more. What? Really 1 more? Hang on. Okay, there we go. No? Yep, that got it. Thank you so much. Great job.
Let us give another round of applause to our students. Participation. At this time, we will. Citizen participation. Do we have any? We have no citizen participation. Our finance report is pending. Oh, okay. Ms. Allen, you DCSM News.
Thank you, sir. Again, this month I'm presenting to you items that appeared in our local news. It was either on a television station or an online news source or a printed news source about positive stories that took place between the last board meeting and this board meeting. You can see that this list is a little bit shorter than our previous months. November and December typically are not as busy because of the Thanksgiving and Christmas break, but I did want you to be aware of those positive things that were being talked about in the news about Bladen County schools. Thank you.
account A0.8.02, December package.
You've got a copy of the financial summary for December. Did they get a hard copy? Okay. In your addendum, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
No questions? No question, then we move to 8.03 high school and NCDPS course of middle school students. Ed, we will look
Thank
for an
you.
update from you.
Thank you, Chairman Mosier. What's coming to you now is just a talking points document. It's sometimes when you get a lot of information, it's just easier to see it sometimes on a bulleted outline. But we are going to share an update with you on the middle school opportunities for high school coursework. As you will remember at the last board meeting, it was asked that as the district take a look and investigate and try to determine how many students might be interested in taking an earth and environmental science course. It started with 3 or 4 parents at Clarkson, and we asked all middle school principals to please just gauge their students, see what the interest level was. So a couple of things we want to share in our talking points. First of all, VPS is just one e-learning opportunity for students, but board members, we are going in that direction. Someone mentioned a few minutes ago, educate today's and tomorrow's children. And so e-learning opportunities are growing, and we have to recognize that as a district and a board. And we certainly want to give our students those opportunities. So it was requested that we look at the number of students that might be interested in this particular course, being one of many opportunities for e-learning. So we met with the middle and high school principals and the district staff. We talked about student readiness, protocols that we might want to put into place, how we would identify students, making parent contacts for interest, what was the impact on high school scheduling, and there will be some, and our high school principals shared those impacts with us. What is the cost to you as a board and us as a district? Would students have internet access and availability at home? How we would support virtual learning, coursework, equitable access across the district to this coursework, and what would be the responsibilities of the student, of the parent, and of us as a school district. And we want to be very transparent with those for you. In your packet, you have a request for coursework and some additional information. We're not going through this packet. You can look at that at your leisure. But this was our feedback. At Clarkson School Discover, we currently have 19 students interested in taking Earth and Environmental Science. At Elizabethtown Middle, we have 5. At the other 3 middle schools, we have no students at this time. The estimated cost of the course, and we are not allowed to charge students, and we would not want to do that. That's state board policy. And we shared with you the cost. It's $349 per student for a semester course and $438 for a year-long course. So our allotment began the 16-17 school year with about $72,000. This takes care of our high school students, some of our OCS students in the math courses. We do have 2 math pilots going on, but if you'll notice, I noted here, there's no charge for that for this year, even though we are utilizing the VPS modules in coursework. So as of today, we also have 33 needed additional slots for the second semester at East Bladen High School, and we have exhausted the $6,000 that was available last month. They've already been taken up through second semester registration. We have a projected 22 students together between Clarkson and Elizabethtown Middle. Mrs. Cole shared that she has not contacted all of her parents yet, but she's estimating that up to 5 might be interested. So this is our recommendation as we think about that, and you can see the cost there. Just for the Earth and Environmental Science, we'll be looking at $8,376. But that is, that's going to be a cost that's going to continue as we continue to enroll students, okay, at $349. So let's look at future options, because we do want to think, how do we want to handle virtual learning and those opportunities for students in Bladen County? We've established, since our last meeting, a committee, and we'd like that committee to vet the process, and it includes all our middle school and high school principals. It includes our district staff, of course, Mr. Henson with accountability. We want to look at viable options, but with parameters that would protect you as a board financially. So that's what we want to look at. What would be the funding responsibilities of this effort? We want to definitely create a process that's going to meet the needs of our students, both high school and those students in middle school that want to advance. I think everybody at this table wants that to happen. We want to create protocols for students and families that want to enroll their students in advanced coursework with equity across the district. In other words, we want all students to have the same and equal opportunities. And we definitely want to embrace the option of advanced coursework for middle school students. VPS in the last few years has really expanded their middle school coursework offerings, but a lot of middle school students do take high school courses. They get the credits, they don't get the quality points by doing a course early, but they do get the high school credits, which means on the back end of their high school career, they can even take advanced courses or either community college courses. And some even have the aspiration to graduate in less than 4 years. So that's what we have to think about when we give students these opportunities. So this committee is really going to work on what would a future model look like. We'd like to bring that back to you in April and May and give you really concrete, specific ways that we feel like we can handle and manage this opportunity for e-learning in the district. Currently, we would like to grant permission and enroll these students that are interested in the North Carolina Virtual Public Schools Earth and Environmental Science course. This, of course, would be with a parent contract that the principal would share with the parent. That contract is on page 2 of what you have in your folder, and it would outline the conditions. Please know going into this, as we do want to be transparent with parents as well, the recommended time for the Earth and Environmental course invested, and this came, the third page, came straight from the BPS coursework handbook. It requires approximately a 2.5-hour investment of time daily for the course. That's what they estimate would be required of the student. But, of course, the district would pay the cost, $349. You'll also see on page 3 there are no textbooks required for this course. And we are also going to request 75 additional slots so that we can accommodate those needs at the high school that we currently have, the 33 slots, and go ahead and enroll those students. What questions might you have at this point? Let me lend to Dr. Taylor. Anything you'd like to add to that, Dr. Taylor?
I think Dr. has done a thorough job in explaining it. We just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to meet the principals, rely as we develop this, and be able to bring it back to the board to have something that's going to really give students the opportunity to have advanced coursework, but also protect the board and the high schools when it comes to academic achievement that happens at the middle school level that affects high school students. So I think you've done a great job, and I'll just answer any questions that any board members may have.
The 8376, is that in addition to the 72,000, or is that in?
The $72,000 allotment is gone.
It's gone. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
83.
Good question. 83 would come out of state reserve. We talked about the funding model just a little bit, but let me reiterate that if I might, just so you have a clear understanding. The 72,000 approximately is just a little more than that. But that's issued at the beginning of the year. Now, according to whether or not a student's taking a year-long semester or summer course, you can see what's deducted. $438 if it's year-long, $349 if it's semester. I think it's $235 if it's a summer course, and we do have some that take them during the summer. But that's deducted from the allotment. When we met in December, we had a $6,000 balance. But you know, the high schools are registering students. getting them prepared, and they've had to have some changes. Try to anticipate the students at the beginning of the year in August, September when they're doing scheduling. They try to look at, what courses those students will be in first and second semester. But sometimes a student needs an additional course, or the seats are full in a particular course at the high school, and so they talk with the students and the parents and give them the VPS option.
And I would say to the board that we expect that amount to increase every year. We went back and looked at, I think, the 13-14 school year. We have been around $36,000. So as more students begin to take virtual public classes, that amount goes up. And that's pretty much what we expect. I don't know what the peak point might be, but if you think about all the courses that might be available and what a high school may not be able to offer, I think it's just an advantage that students have that as an option. So we do expect that to increase from one year to the next. It's going up every year. It's going up across the entire state in terms of the number. But the only thing that we would say is that whatever we spend this year, they take that from our teacher allotment for the upcoming year. And to me, that makes logical sense. I mean, it's what you're using, so that's where they take it from. We don't have any problem with it. We just want to make sure that we use it judiciously as we move forward. Make sure it's not something that's going to hurt kids. If they make a decision to do it, and then later find out that it's something they didn't want to do, particularly at the middle school level. It's high school, they've been doing it for a long time.
The 24 students, has the principal vetted them, or is it just a request from the student?
They are calling them now. Mrs. Cole shared she has not been able to contact all of hers. Ms. Norris is in the process of doing that.
But I mean, is this something the principals thinks these students can handle?
Not in all cases. That's why we need the committee to really talk about student readiness. Do we want prerequisites in Bladen County? Those are things that we need to vet, because those are very valid questions. And as far as the funding, I wanted to expand just a little bit when you asked about the $72,000. When we asked for the 75 additional slots, that won't hurt us at all this year with funding. But just from last year to this year, we had a 168% increase in funding because we used that much additionally last year from the reserve. So next year is when that will come off the top of our teaching allotment, as Dr. Taylor just shared. That's why we need a vetting process, but what we're suggesting now is because of time. These students that want to take this course that are in middle school, the course starts January 23rd. You all know that our semester ends on February 3rd because of Hurricane Matthew. We made some changes to the calendar. But these students would have to start January 23rd, so we would need to get them enrolled and go ahead and get their accounts set up and those kinds of things. So that's why there's kind of an urgency. Let's go ahead and make the decision. And we could consider this maybe a pilot to see how our students do. But we would be allowing these students to take the course without any prerequisites being defined by us as a district. But moving forward, I think we would definitely have to do that. Because imagine if you have 30 students at all the middle schools and 200 students at both the high schools times 349, you possibly could get in a situation that we couldn't fund.
And the reason we wanted to make sure we had a clear vetting process for the next school year is that there's 13 different courses that high school, that middle school students can take. And we have approximately 1,400 middle school students. If you take out 5th grade, you're probably talking about probably 1,000 students, 1,100 give or take. And without a vetting process, there's nothing that would prevent all of those 6th through 8th grade students coming and saying, I want to take one of those VPS courses that's available to middle school students. And obviously, we wouldn't expect that, but if you had 200, 25, 30, 40 from each school, that's still a large number. You haven't accounted for the high school. So I think it goes back to what Mr. West asked, are we looking at students and their ability to be able to function at that level? What we found is that even when high school students take virtual public courses that are online, a lot of the work and rigor is much higher than they expect. And we definitely want to expose the middle school student to the same thing. They have what they call middle school virtual public courses, and then they have high school virtual public courses that middle school students can take. So if they take the high school course at middle school, they're going to get the same level of rigor that a high school student gets. So that's kind of what we've been making sure we develop as we move forward. But, yes, sir.
I mean, 2.5 hours a day. That's pretty rigorous to be added on.
Yes.
I mean, for a middle school student. I mean,
And they are rigorous, Mr. Edwards.
What
That's a
about?
good
I
point.
mean, summer times. I mean,
Well, they
if
can
they
take
were that dedicated to it.
yeah, they can take summer courses, and I think it's $275, and I'm not
235.
235. So the length will be different. You got year-long semester, and then those summer courses will probably be over a 6-week period. You would think. So it's
So it'd be more cost efficient to do it in the summer.
It would be.
Do they offer the same classes?
If you can get in, the seats are a little bit more limited in the summer courses. Simply because they hire their VPS teachers like we hire ours, and a little more seats may be a little more limited.
And the only difference would be in terms of rigor is that you'd be talking about the same course in a short period of time. So, so you may have more time, but in terms of not having other classes, but when it's going to be real narrow. Yes, sir.
I want to go back to something that Mr. Allen mentioned. How are we handling that whenever the principals call the parents? If the principal thinks that the child will not be able to, 2.5 hours more, are they explaining that in detail to them? Well,
Yes, sir.
because it does have an impact on their GPA.
Well, at this point, it wouldn't calculate in the middle school student's GPA, but it would be on their transcript.
That's
so
right,
you're absolutely
yeah.
right. Yeah.
They get the credits, but it's not in their GPA.
How's it done in the past?
Well, we haven't had a lot of middle school students to take high school courses. I think the pilot is the first time that we've actually done VPS courses, and that's through Math 1. So they've taken Algebra 1/Math 1 in the school in the past. We've also had English 1 that was taken at Clark, the School of Discovery, but these classes were high school classes that were actually taught at the school. Now we have every middle school has students taking Math 1 through VPS. So that's actually the first time that we've kind of had them taking it online and not in class. So we've taught high school courses in the past and gave middle school students credit. But this is the first time that we've actually had them taking courses online. And I don't think there's been any other before that. Misquote.
And the two that I've listed here for you on the reference where I have no charge, those are both pilots. So we're really looking at, and one of those is a year-long pilot, the Math 1 at the high school. We have 25 students in each of those classes, and we're really trying to target those students that have been challenged with math historically in their trend data, and really get them in a class where they have the support of a face-to-face teacher and a VPS teacher. So it's a blended model. It's something that VPS wanted to try in the schools, and they selected us, and it's been a good effort. So we're anxious to see results from that. It may be something that VPS does more of in the future, but we're trying that. And of course, to give all students in the district opportunities to Math 1, and that was an issue for us year before last when we were going to offer it in our Project Challenge program, and we had lots of parents to say, well, my student's AIG, but I don't attend Clarkton. I'd like my child to take it. So what we created with VPS, and this is a pilot as well, is one course for Bladen County. And it doesn't matter what middle school you feed from, you're in that one course with the same teacher taking the same course. And it's working really well. We had some hurdles we had to get through at the beginning. We're on our third VPS teacher. And we don't get to control that. First one lost her husband. Second one got very ill and has had 3 surgeries. And so we're on our third teacher. But she actually visited Bladen County. We went around and talked to every student that's in that course, kind of gauge and get them back on track. And so we feel good about it at this point. But now a lot of us feel very strongly that in the future, we'll see how the 8th graders do. Typically in English 1, they did very good. The class at Larkin had excellent scores in English 1, but it was a face-to-face. The Math 1, very good as well, very high scores, but also a face-to-face. So the pilots that we're doing now, we can evaluate at the end of the year, and that will be good information for you and for us as we continue to vet and determine how we want to move forward with this opportunity. But there is no question that this is the way we're going in education. We're going to have to expand and open up these opportunities for our students to be competitive with the other 114 LEAs in this state. I just know that, and it comes with a cost. But that we've got to give some of these opportunities to our students that are ready for them. And I think the readiness is definitely what we want to vet the most. We want to be sure they're ready and not set them up for failure.
Any additional questions for administration? If not, we've made a motion. We made a motion on last month to table that, so we take it off the table. Motion. So moved. It's been moved properly second. We remove from the table. The vote up or down on the NC EPS. Any additional discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor, let it be known by the signs of aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. It's on the table. Ready for a motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the NCVS. Are there any additional discussion on it? If not, are you ready to vote? All in favor, let it be known by the signs of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
Mark Taylor, community reform.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we approach the end of 2016, the board had looked at the possibility of having community forums to discuss school facilities with the community, and we determined that we wanted to postpone that effort until the new board was together to give them an opportunity to give feedback. I was asked to kind of look at some dates in terms of having those forums if the board so desired as we move into the spring semester. Based on what I see, the biggest thing that would, I don't want to say stand in the way, but as we deal with our basketball season, we have a couple of days that are still going to be coming up. Effectively, the regular season ends on February the 9th. So that's not something that would necessarily prevent us from having forums, but we want to try as much as we can to try and steer clear of anything that will impede us having a good turnout if we desire to have those meetings. So at this point, I'll give board chair and any other board member kind of give us some feedback so we'll know which direction to go in terms of scheduling meetings, giving community members an opportunity to ask questions of the Board of Education and the Superintendent Administration, and also sharing information that we may have about school facilities. I know we've got 3 board members that are new to this entire process, so I know there may be a number of questions that they may have. We want to make sure that we provide them any information to help them understand the process. So at this point, does anybody, will any board member have any particular information or thoughts that they'd like to share with administration as we begin to deal more with this process and be able to come to some kind of conclusion?
Board members? Well, senior board members.
Dr. Taylor, I had spoken with Mr. Rozier, and I would like for us as a board to get together before we do this. I think that we need to hear the input of the 3 new board members and see what they have and see what their objectives are before we even set a date to even have this forum to meet, because it may be to the point that we don't need to have it. But that's just my concern. so that they can have their input.
Yeah, instead of, I think we need to make a date to meet as a board and discuss it.
So, a couple of ways we can do that. I'm sure you don't have your calendars in front of you now, so what I'll do, Mrs. Dowd and I will contact board members and identify a good date that would be good for the board to come together and have discussions. What I will also do is provide information to the new board members of various things that the board has examined and give that to you as material that you can review, and then you can either call me or come by and meet with me, and I can discuss any of the details that you like. I know that there's been a lot of stuff that's been covered. It will probably take some time for you to go through and understand all of it. The information is there, but I certainly take as much time as I need to work with board members so they can understand that information. And I think come together as a full board and have further discussion. And then administration, we will have guidance from you guys as to which direction you want to go. So I think that's great.
Exactly. We're looking forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chief.
Ms. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have Adam with Anderson, Smith and White, our auditing firm. He is here to give us a presentation on our audit report for June 30, 2016.
Good evening. As Ms. May said, I'm here to present the financial statement audit. We've got a report here that we issued as of December 9th. We have submitted these financial statements to the local government commission for their review. They've not approved those yet, but those should be coming. Their approval should be coming in the next week or two. And this was the audit report for the year ended June 30, 2016. In front of you, there should be a bound set of financial statements. And if you would turn to page 1, this is the actual audit opinion letter within that statement. And at the bottom of page 1 is our opinion paragraph. And this is essentially the most important paragraph in the statements, but it basically says that the financial statements referred to above in this statement here are accurate and fairly represent the activity for Bladen County Schools and the financial position of Bladen County Schools as of June 30, 2016. So this is what's considered a clean audit, unmodified audit opinion letter. So that's on page 1. A couple of other things I just wanted to point out within these statements. Page 10 starts the actual basic statements. Exhibits 1 and 2, page 10 and 11. These are the combined statements. If you combined all of the funds for Bladen County Schools and presented all of the assets, all the liabilities as if you were just one company, all dollars combined, it would be presented as a balance sheet and income statement, and they're shown on exhibits 1 and 2. And that's all well and good, but you operate more on a fund basis, a funding basis, whether it be state funding, federal, local. And so, while this information does present Bladen County Schools as one unit, as all information, all dollars in one statement or one set of statements, the balance sheet and income statement, the real beneficial and most important statements are actually on page 12 and 13. And these are your fund statements for your governmental funds. So Exhibit 3 on page 12 is the balance sheet for each of your major and non-major funds on your governmental side. Each of those funds represents a column on this statement, and you can see we across the board we have your general state public school fund, federal grants, other special revenue, and capital outlay funds, and then your one non-major fund, your individual schools. One of the numbers I wanted to point out here is at the bottom of that first column, your general fund, your local fund, the total unassigned fund balance as of June 30, 2016 was $788,000. Again, that's at the bottom of that general column on Exhibit 3. So that is essentially your fund balance available to appropriate as of June 30, 2016, $788,000. That number is a significant increase from a year ago. And you can see that increase on Exhibit 4, which is the income statement. again, for that same column, your general fund, at the bottom of that fund, you can see that the change in fund balance for the year was $689,000. So your fund balance in 1 year went from $178,000 to $852,000. And we've reported over the previous 2 years that your fund balance was actually dangerously low in that fund. At $178,000, just offered very little flexibility for covering unforeseen circumstances, increases in pay, bonuses that come down, that are passed down from DPI. So it was nice to see that improvement this year. Again, $689,000 added to fund balance in 1 year. So those two items, that general fund, that local fund is one of the most important numbers for monitoring the financial position of the school system. Your state and federal funds, they don't carry fund balance. You spend that money as you get it. You spend your allotments, you don't carry fund balance. All of that fund balance is really carried in your funds for your general fund, your other special revenue fund, your capital outlay fund. In the past, you've used that capital outlay fund, used some of that fund balance to cover some of those shortfalls in the general fund, and that fund balance as of June 30, 2016 sits at $1.4 million. So, again, those two statements to me provide the most information, again, on a fund basis for those governmental funds. And if you've got any questions on those two statements, I'd be happy to answer those. But if not, if you would turn to page 19. So the exhibits 3 and 4, they cover your governmental funds, but you also have a business type fund, which is your school food service fund, your child nutrition. It's considered a business type fund, and it's presented here on exhibits 7 and 8. Again, a balance sheet and an income statement for that fund. And on the bottom of page 19, you see that the net position for your school food service fund was $776,000 at year end. And if you go to the next page, exhibit 8, you see the change in that fund balance. So again, at the bottom of that page, your change in fund balance, your change in net position for that fund was an increase of $259,000 for the year. So your fund balance went from $517 to $776 in 1 year. The child nutrition fund, while we track fund balance, it includes other assets like your equipment and furnishings, depreciable assets, non-cash assets. So while fund balance is an important number to look at, child nutrition really operates on a cash basis. It's more important in all the tests we do about the profitability and how much money is available. It's all done on a cash basis. So while your fund balance is $776,000, cash on hand also is about $775,000. That's on the top of page 19. So right now your fund balance is mirroring your cash as of June 30, 2016. Very comparable numbers. And the only reason I'm going over this is because that $259,000 increase this year, that wasn't all cash. You received $124,000 of grant money to purchase equipment. So on the bottom of page 20, you can see under, after all your activity, you have your food sales, your expenses, your federal reimbursements, but there's a line down there for capital contributions. That's essentially net income in the form of free equipment. The federal government paid for some equipment. And so while you made $259,000 in that fund this year, not all of that is cash and not all of it's going to be repeatable. So operations really provided about $100,000 increase.
Personnel amendment item. Any discussion? Hearing none, ready to vote. All in favor, let it be known by the sign of the mind. All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Bailey. Student transfer. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I would like to have Mrs. Cheryl White Smith come forward and Mr. Lou Nealon. I I know most of you know Mrs. White Smith as our principal at Elizabethtown Primary School. She will be our new EC director. She'll be taking the helm on 17 January. So we're very excited about the work that she's going to do. She and I have already had an opportunity to sit down and talk. But I think she's very excited about the position and see a lot of potential. So I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce her tonight. Also, we have Mr. Lou Nealon. He doesn't go by Colonel Nealon, but I try not to call him that. He's had an opportunity to go around to several of the schools. I know he did 4 today. I've had an opportunity to talk with men in the maintenance staff. They're very excited about the leadership that he brings. We certainly thank Dr. Heaven Ridge for having him transition to that position. I just want to present them to you and give the board an opportunity to ask him any questions that you may want to ask him. I know you guys weren't prepared for this, but this is your first test.
I wonder if Ms. White Smith, are you going to bring the excitement to the administration that you had?
Bless their hearts. Miss Mary and Miss Stephanie have already told them to hold on. I'm coming. Full force.
And Carolyn, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. And ma'am.
I do want to remind the board members that there will be a safety demonstration tomorrow at the National Guard Armory at 11 o'clock. And Sergeant Turlington with the Sheriff's Department will be conducting it. So if you're able to go to that at 11, not too cold, we certainly ask you to come out and support that. Mr. Chair, that's all I have. I don't know if you want to talk with board members under the chair's report about committee selection. I know you talked to some.
I would love to, sir. Board members, we back again about committee selection. If you all don't mind, we can do it now. Is there any need to think about what committee you want to be on? We'll get some feedback on that, please, sirs.
Can we turn it into Ms. Down?
If you all don't mind, please turn it into Ms. Down this week.